Ever wondered how the US political system works? What makes it unique? How does it impact your daily life? We're about to dive into the American political system. Like a complex machine, it functions with multiple interconnected parts. At its heart, it's a democratic republic. Citizens elect representatives who make decisions on their behalf, balancing majority rule with law. It's structured into three branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. The legislative branch crafts and passes laws, the executive branch enforces them, and the branch interprets them in line with the Constitution. These branches shape aspects of your life, from taxes to road use to rights protection. Understanding the US political system isn't just academic. It's about knowing the forces that mold our society and our lives. So, let's delve deeper into the heart of American politics, starting with the legislative branch. The legislative branch, also known as Congress, is the lawmaking powerhouse of the US. It's a two-part body consisting of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Let's break it down. The Senate is the upper house with 100 members, 2 from each state. Senators serve 6-year terms, and their role includes ratifying treaties and confirming appointments, among other responsibilities. On the other hand, the House of Representatives is the lower house, with 435 members. These representatives are elected every 2 years based on the population of each state, with each representative serving a specific district. The House initiates all revenue bills and also has the power to impeach federal officials. Every law in the US begins as a bill in either of these houses. The members debate, amend, and vote on these bills, shaping the country's legal landscape. Now that you understand the lawmaking powerhouse, let's move on to the branch that enforces these laws. The executive branch, headed by the president, is responsible for enforcing the laws made by Congress. This is the real powerhouse of the political system, where the gears of government are set into motion. The president, often considered the most powerful person in the world, is at the helm of this branch. But the president doesn't act alone. The vice president, often in the shadows, is the president's right hand, stepping in when needed. And then there's the cabinet, a group of advisors handpicked by the president, each heading a federal department, from defense to education, from state to homeland security. But how does one become president? It's not a simple job application, that's for sure. It involves a nationwide election, held every 4 years, where the citizens vote for their preferred candidate. The process is unique, involving electoral votes from each state, rather than a simple majority. It's a system designed to ensure that every state's voice is heard. Now, the president and the executive branch hold significant power, but it's not unlimited. They have the authority to implement and enforce laws, but they can't make them. They control the military, but can't declare war without Congress's approval. They can make treaties with foreign nations, but again, only with the Senate's consent. The president also has the power of the veto, a final check on legislation. If a bill comes to the president's desk that they don't agree with, they can veto it, sending it back to Congress. But remember, even this power isn't absolute. Congress can override a veto with a 2/3 majority vote. The executive branch is like the engine of a car. It's where the rubber meets the road, where abstract laws become concrete actions. But it's not all powerful. It's balanced by the other branches, each with their own roles and responsibilities. With the executive branch enforcing laws, who ensures those laws are interpreted correctly? The judicial branch. But that's a conversation for another scene. For now, remember, the executive branch is where laws are put into action. It's where the president, vice president, and cabinet work together to guide our nation. The judicial branch, headed by the Supreme Court, interprets laws and ensures they are in line with the US Constitution. This branch is like a guardian, keeping a watchful eye on the laws of the land. The Supreme Court, composed of 9 justices, stands at the pinnacle of this branch. These justices are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, serving for life unless they resign, retire, or are impeached. But what about other federal courts? They too have judges appointed the same way, serving on various benches across the nation. Their task? To interpret laws and ensure they align with the Constitution. Then there's judicial review. This powerful tool allows courts to examine the actions of the legislative and executive branches and deem them unconstitutional if necessary. So, you see, the judicial branch plays a crucial role in maintaining the balance of power. Now that we've covered the 3 branches, let's talk about how they check and balance each other. The US political system is designed to ensure no single branch holds absolute power. This is achieved through a system of checks and balances. Now, what does that mean? Picture a playground seesaw. You've got two kids, one on each end. If one kid is significantly heavier, the seesaw tips in their favor. But if the kids are of equal weight, the seesaw stays balanced. That's the idea of checks and balances. It's all about maintaining equilibrium, making sure no one gets too much control. In the context of the US political system, we've got three kids on the playground: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial branches. Each one has the ability to check or limit the power of the others, keeping them from becoming too dominant. Let's dive into some examples. The legislative branch, which is Congress, can pass laws, but the executive branch, headed by the president, can veto these laws. However, Congress isn't helpless in this situation. They can override the president's veto if they can muster a 2/3 majority in both houses. But it doesn't stop there. The judicial branch, the Supreme Court, has the power to declare laws passed by Congress and signed by the president as unconstitutional. This is a check on both the legislative and executive branches. However, the justices of the Supreme Court are appointed by the president and approved by the Senate, which is part of the legislative branch. So while the judicial branch can check the other two, it is also checked by them. Similarly, the president, as the head of the executive branch, has the power to issue executive orders, but these can be declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. As you can see, it's a system of give and take, each branch both exerting power and having power exerted upon it. It's a delicate balance, but it's what keeps our democracy from turning into a dictatorship. Understanding the US political system is the first step towards informed citizenship. Remember, your voice matters in shaping the future of your country. So, we've journeyed through the US political system, understanding its structure and operation. We've navigated the corridors of the legislative powerhouse, where laws are crafted and passed. We've observed the executive enforcers, the presidency and its cabinet, whose responsibility it is to implement and enforce these laws. We then ventured into the chambers of the judicial guardians, the Supreme Court, where laws are evaluated for their constitutionality. It's a dynamic interplay between these three branches, a dance choreographed by the Constitution, ensuring a balanced distribution of power. This system of checks and balances is the heartbeat of American democracy, a fail-safe against the concentration of power. It's a complex, intricate machine, but at its core, it thrives on the participation of its people. So engage, question, and participate. This is your democracy. Your voice matters. Stay curious, keep learning, and remember, every vote counts.